All right. Happy Wednesday, wisdom, everybody. I am back. I'm here. I'm so excited to be back with my man, none other than the incredible knockout Nolly Williams. How are you doing, sir?
I'm blessed, man. Really, really blessed. Too blessed to be stressed,
There
for
you
sure.
go. There
Yeah,
you
no
go.
doubt. Doing well, doing well.
Too anointed to be disappointed, too, right?
Oh,
So
I like that one. I haven't
there
heard
you
that
go.
one
You can
actually.
use
That's
it. You can
good.
have
I
that. You
like
can
it. I
have
like
that's
it.
for
I'm
free. That's for free.
write that one
So
down.
yes, welcome everybody. We are live. Thank you all so much for popping on to check this out. So as y'all know, I missed out on last week, but Lindsay Holland held this thing all the way down, and goodness gracious, such incredible information Nolly had to share with us last week that I called him and I said, hey, we got to have you back. We got to have you back because Nolly, and one of the things that I love most about him is that he truly has the heart of a trainer. He has the heart of someone that really just wants to pour into others, right? As we light this one big fire. And this is, I
Right.
think, the third weekly Wednesday that we've had. And really, I just wanted to set that bar high. We started out with Jay Kinder, right into Nolly. I'll tell you all about who we have coming up next as well later on. But goodness gracious, Nolly, introduce yourself to anyone that maybe missed out on last week, anyone that hasn't heard of you yet, which is totally their fault if they haven't heard of you, because I know you're an incredible individual. So don't let me belabor all of your incredible accomplishments. I'll let you speak to them, and then I'll come back and piggyback on that, I'm sure. Because I imagine you're going to be humble as you always are.
Well, it's last week, Tony. We had. First of all, I appreciate you having me back twice. This is a big honor. You run one of the largest groups here at EXP, and it's a huge undertaking. So I really appreciate everything you do. So my foray, when I got into real estate, I was 33 years old. I'm 52 now. So next year I will celebrate 20 years in the business. And when I first got in, I was very scared. I was I was an emotional wreck. I could say that. I could say that now, because I came from a different industry. I was in the music business, and you may not know this, Tony, but in that business, I started the company with $1,800. Okay, and it
Wow.
was what I wanted to do as a child. When I was 13 years old, I knew nobody could tell me any different. I'm going to become a rapper. That's all I was going to do. And so when I was 23, I started actually doing Christian rap, started my record label, started a magazine. I got $1,800 that I borrowed. I didn't even borrow the money. I just asked people for money. Like, could you help me start my company?
Yeah, yeah.
$20 here, 50 there, 100 there. I raised 1,800 bucks. And within 5, 6 years, I was making $150,000 a month in that
Wow.
business. Was
Wow.
doing really well. Distributed by EMI Capital. We had 18 artists, 14 employees. I had a 10-acre property in Round Rock, Texas, with a big house, office building, studio, and we lost it all, man. When the and this is what we're seeing now. See, every market shifts. Markets always shift, and in our market, which was the music industry, things shifted. Everything went digital. And Tony, I did not know how to shift with the market. Okay, if I knew how to shift with the market, I'd probably still be in that industry. But God had different plans. But we basically, I left that industry with my tail between my legs. I made my first $1 million when I was 29 years old. I actually made 2 million that year, um, and I've made many millions since then. But I've made a ton of mistakes. Uh, the best thing, one of the best things I ever did was EXP. We'll talk about that in a minute. But so I got into real estate. I was 33, and I knew I had to focus on listings, man. I knew it. I knew it. I knew it. So without going too far down the track, because I'm going to let you kind of throw in some questions and stuff, I took 21 listings during my first 74 days in the business, and I went on to take over 1,000 listings my first 10 years in real estate. And I know enough to know this: listings is your focus. That's what you want to focus on. If you're in the real estate game, you want to stay in this game. You don't want to have to leave the industry with your tail between your legs. Because see, here's the thing: when a market is up, listings. When a market is down, listings. You got to list to last. And so that's what we're going to have a conversation around today. I'd love to chat more about that.
Absolutely, and that really was the focal point of this month, right? So each month we're really going to have a theme, and this is kind of the linchpin, the last piece that we want you to kind of speak on and put that final nail in the coffin for this month about how to get more listings, right? Because
Sure.
to your point, you have to list to last in any industry,
Yeah.
and specifically, of course, in real estate, but in any market, right? So
Sure. That's
because we
true.
are in a shifting market, we're in an evolving market right now. If you're not listing, you're not going to last. You're not going to make it into the market rebound, and we're going to see a thinning of the herd. And one of my goals is to making sure that everyone that certainly is hopping on this podcast has the ability to list and to last. Those who own the listings, those are the people that are going to own the market for now and in the future. So
Yeah.
that's what I wanted you to talk about. I wanted you to really unpack for us how you're able, if you do that multiplication, right? 10 years, 1,000 listings, that's 100 listings a year.
Yeah.
And what I decided actually just now, right? Because it's my thing, right? It's my podcast. I do what I want. So what I decided is I'm going to make that the threshold, right? So anyone that's coming to speak to this audience, the minimum is 100 listings a year, right? And so far we're already at that. We're exceeding that, and I know that you've exceeded that yourself, and I myself have done over 100 listings in one 12-month period. So I
Yeah.
think that that's
Yeah.
that's kind of the mar that we want to go to, and I think that the
Sure.
reason for that, as I was thinking about this last night, statistically, whenever you're doing a training, when people leave that training, they're only going to leave with about 20% statistically
Sure. Absolutely.
of everything that they consume there. So, my thoughts are, man, if we can get folks to consume or to put into action just 20% of what we're going to teach them, and if they're doing 100 transactions a year, they're learning from people doing 100 listings a year, well then heck, that's an extra 20, 30 listings that they're going to be able
Sure.
to add to their
That's
business,
absolutely
to their
right.
portfolio. So that's
Yeah.
why I picked that number. It wasn't out of the blue, but I'm so glad that you brought that up, and that's what I want to focus on. And all the marketing I think towards this event has been focused on how to get 100 more listings next year. So Nolly, teach
Absolutely.
us.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, and here, and this is a little bit of a twist too, Tony. Last time I came and it was like straight lecture style, which I love to do. I'm a seminar guy.
Yeah.
For years and years, I was on the seminar circuit. I would go in, I'd do a 3 hour seminar, and I just teach, 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 teach. What my coach has been impressing me with over the last so many months is making it more interactive, letting people, engage. So I'm going to start off with just teaching, but I want you, the listener, I want you to be um, engaged. If you have a question, um, if there's something that's perplexing you around this, uh, speak up. So first, I'm going to talk about some principles. Okay, the underlying principle that I want you to write down, like how do you, because here's the thing, Tony. First of all, write this word down, belief. You're listening to this, write the word belief down. You have to believe that you can do this. How did I even get to 100 deals a year? Well, I'll tell you how I got to it. I got in the real estate game. I knew that I had to focus on listings because I read this red book called The Millionaire Real Estate Agent, and in that book it said listings, and I was like, oh, I didn't know any better. Uh, I didn't really have anybody a mentor, when I first started out, Tony. So I just said, okay, well, if this is what this guy's telling me to do, listings, so I guess that's what I'm going to do. And so I just started doing it. Now, a lot of times you hear, oh, you got to join a team first, and that might be the right solution for many people. Or I might hear something like, well, start with buyers, work with buyers for 3, 4, 5 years, and then you can graduate to listings. That might be the right solution for some people. But I'll tell you, when I first started, I didn't join a team and I went straight after listings from day one. And so write the word belief. The reason why you're not focusing on listings right now is that word right there, belief. Belief. Scripture says that the word believe it's actually the Greek word is pisteo. Okay, pisteo. Now, what that word means is to fully rely on, okay, and to lean into, to fully rely on. So in the Greek, when Jesus said believe, when he used the word, he was not talking about a mental ascension to facts. And this is how we use it in America because the American language is a primitive language. I, I love America, best country in the world. I love everything, not everything about it, but I love America. But the language in America is primitive. If when you go back to like the Native American languages and other languages that we had before, there was more. You would have like 5 or 6 words for every word. We just get right to the point. So we say, "Oh, I believe I should do listings." Well, belief is an action word. So if I said, "Tony, do you believe in that chair?" What you would immediately do if you were Greek back in those days, you would immediately get up and you would go sit in the chair. That's how you demonstrate belief. You actually do. And so most agents, um, they don't believe that they can do listings, and that's why they don't do them. They have a fear around working with sellers. And I'm going to tell you like this: the reality is, you can work 3 times as many, uh, you can work 3 times fewer, okay, listings as you do buyers and still make more money.
Hmm.
That's just a fact. That's just a fact. So how did I get to 100 plus? Well, I got in the game and I was like, okay, just like everybody else, what's my bare minimum? What's it going to take to run my household? And so I was like, okay, if I did like 15 or 20 deals a year, I think we'd be okay. Okay, we'd be okay. Um, so that's what I wrote down. Then guess what I did, Tony? I hired a coach. Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. Right, right.
Uh-oh, I hired a coach. And you know what my
Accountability
coach,
now.
accountability. I hired a coach and I was paying him $1,000 a month. Okay. I was 8 months in the business. But what happened with me was I was overwhelmed. I didn't know what to do first, how to do this, and I was doing all this stuff that I knew I shouldn't be doing, and I was overwhelmed. So I
Yep.
hired a coach, and and so I thought, well, I know I want to do 20 deals, but I'm just going to tell my coach I want to do 40 because that's going to impress her. When she hears my goal, boy, she's going to just be like, whoa, Nolly's insane. So she said, Nolly, she said, what's your goal? I said, um, well, I want to do 40 deals. You know what she told me? She said, why would you just do 40? Why wouldn't you go for
Wow.
100? Why
Wow.
wouldn't you go for 100? So I say she poo-pooed. She poo-pooed me, man. And I was like, what? 100? And my immediate reaction, and this is the reaction that many of our agents had when they saw the headline, how to do 100 deals a year. Is Tony crazy? What? I'm not trying. I'm just trying to feed my family. That's nuts, you know?
Right.
So I had the same reaction. I said, that's crazy. I said, I'm not trying to work that hard.
Yeah.
This is what she told me, and this stuck with me. Remember, we're talking about belief here. She told me, she said, Nolly, if you will agree to do 100 deals a year, if you'll commit to do that, I guarantee you, you'll work half as much as if you do 40 deals. It's
Mm,
just a fact. And she didn't explain to me how that was, Tony. It didn't make any sense to me. It was counterintuitive, but because she was my coach and she had some really good experience in the business, I just said, you know what? I'm just gonna I'm just gonna do that. I'm just gonna make I'm gonna and what happens, here's what happens. Listen to this. When you change your goals, when you say, I want to do 100 deals a year, I want to do 10 listings a month, everything changes. Your
right.
marketing plans, your strategies, your ideas, your whole mind just starts to elevate, because now you're on a whole different, it's a whole different ball game, a whole different playing field. So the first thing that I want you to think about around that is just belief, because if you can get over that one hurdle, see, the two things that will keep you from the success that you desire, there's actually three: fear, write it down, fear, guilt, and shame. Fear, guilt, and shame. Now, how does that look? Well, I know, Nolly and Tony are talking about this 100 deals, and Tony said he did 100, and I know Nolly's he's done 100 for many years. But man, I just don't know if, that scares me. See, a lot of people have a fear of success. And on the other hand, they have a fear of failure. Well, what if I don't hit the target? Doubt. Okay. Scripture says, if that person begins to doubt, let he or she not think that she will receive anything.
Mm,
It's a double-minded, you're double-minded and unstable in all your ways. So when you start to doubt, what happens is everything that, the universe is bringing towards you, it starts to go away. You start to repel it. Okay. So you want to get over this fear and doubt, and then shame. Well, what makes me so special? I mean, uh, I grew up people told me I was worthless and I wouldn't amount to anything. Why do I deserve to do 100 deals? I should just settle for 30. I'm not. What makes me think I can do that? That shame talking,
Yeah.
fear, guilt, and shame will keep you from your success. So that's really the first thing I wanted to point out. Did you have
So
anything to add, Tony,
yeah,
or
yeah,
you want me to
I
keep
would
going?
love to piggyback on that.
Sure.
I'm getting goosebumps over here, right? The way Nolly talks, he's like you teach preaching a sermon over here. But no, I think it really speaks to one of my mentors as well, Jim Rohn, which I'm
Oh,
probably sure
love
you
him.
probably very
Yeah,
familiar.
yeah, for sure.
Um,
Love him.
and I think that his big four questions, right, that turn everything around. The why, right? Number one, the first question is why. Why do you have to achieve this goal? And
Mm,
really, and Tony Robbins talks about, and he's the one that kind of trained Tony Robbins. And one of the things
yeah,
he taught him is, hey, look, your when your why becomes big enough, the how becomes easy, right? And
absolutely,
figuring out why
absolutely.
you and turning your goals into must have, your
Sure.
should do's or could do's, turning them into must do's. I have
Yeah,
to get 100 listings in the next 12 months, otherwise, and then come up with your otherwise, right? So that's the first
sure.
question: is why. Establishing that why you have to achieve this goal. The second one
Right.
is why not, right? Why
Mm,
not? Why not see how much you can grow, how much you can become, how many listings you can get? Okay, maybe you may not hit 100, maybe you hit 85. What does that do for your family? What does
sure.
that do for your business? What does that do for you, right? So why not see how many you can get, right? Make a game out of it. And when you make a game
Sure.
out of it, when you make it into something fun, then you're in a position to love what you're doing while you're doing it. You're in a position to love the journey, right? Because you're making a game out of it. So
Absolutely.
why not see how much you can grow? The next one is why not you, right? So I've done it.
Mm.
I've done over 100 listings. Now he's done over 100. Many people on our Texas broker team, many people
Jay
across the entire state
Kinder,
of Texas.
look at Jay
Oh my gosh,
Kinder. He,
Jay Kinder did 536, right? So why not you? Why not you? And the funny thing is, whenever you talk to these individuals that are majorly successful, they will tell you, hey, if I can do it, you can do it, right? The only people that are
absolutely.
telling you that you can't are people that either haven't done it or can't do it themselves,
Sure.
or you're telling it to yourself. The people that have done it tell you that you can do it. So
Sure.
I've always thought that to
Absolutely.
be funny, right?
Absolutely.
So
That's
why
funny.
would I listen
Yeah.
to you and you haven't done it? This person has done it, and they're telling me I can.
Yeah.
So, that's the why not you. And then the fourth question, why not now? Right? Why not
Mm,
now decide, hey, look, I'm going to give it a run, right? I know the market is shifting, but I know that this is going to create opportunity. Just like in a
mm,
situation where, they sent the two salesmen to Africa, right? To sell
yeah.
shoes. His shoe manufacturer wanted to open up their shoe division. They decided they want to branch out, send two salesmen. One salesman calls back and says, hey, I can't sell any shoes. People don't wear shoes here. And then the next salesman calls and
Mm.
says, hey, I got to double my orders. I keep selling out. Nobody wears shoes over here, right?
Yeah.
I'm selling them too fast, right? So why not you? Why aren't you the second salesman, right? And that's
Right.
as we head into this shifted market, as we head into this unique scenario that none of us have seen before. I think that it is
Hmm.
going to certainly create some unique opportunities for some agents that are going to really sharpen their skills and become
Absolutely.
incredible in the future. So I want to unpack
Sure.
that right now. I know we talked a lot of
Sure. That's
mindset
really
stuff
good.
and
That's really
belief.
good.
Let's get into some nitty gritty, right? How? So
Sure.
we
Yeah.
talked
Yeah.
about the
Yeah.
why. Let's talk about the how, Nolly. What are you teaching your team? What are you teaching people that you're coaching on how to get to a position where they're able to close over 100 deals in the
Yeah.
next 12-month period?
Sure. So I'm going to give three overarching principles around this. Number one, you have to set aside time for success. Okay. What does that look like? That looks like from 9 o'clock to 11, you're lead generating every single day. Every single day. This is something, Tony, that when I first got in the business, um, I just never, I never stopped doing it. I do it today. Even today, I've already done my, we call it time blocking or time boxing, however you want to say it. You have to set aside time for lead generation every single day. It's super critical. That's like it's equivalent to um, our forefathers when they would go out on the hunt. They had to feed the tribe, and every day they went out on the hunt and they brought back the game, right? So prospecting equals paychecks, and not prospecting equals poverty. Let me say it again. Prospecting equals paychecks, not prospecting equals poverty. You have to do that every single day. Now, a lot of people ask me, well, Nolly, I'm in my lead generation bunker. By the way, most people, Tony, they don't do it right. I'm just going to say it that way. They just don't do it right. They they get in the lead generation bunker for 2 hours. They spend 30 minutes trying to figure out what they're going to do, what they're going to say, what script should I use, who should I call, what I'm going to. No, 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 no. See, when you get in your lead generation bunker, it's go time. You get
Okay,
in there.
hang
Yeah,
on. So, but before we start talking about what to do in the lead generation bunker,
sure.
now we definitely have to unpack that. Um,
Okay.
I want to encourage everyone that's on this call, take action right now, right now, take action. So that said, let's put into place what Nolly's already talked about, which is time blocking. And I want to see in the chat, go ahead and drop into the chat right now, what are your time blocking hours? It's so important to be
Mhm.
around like-minded individuals. It's so important to take action, immediate massive action. That has been the key to my success in anything that I've ever
Sure.
done and anyone I've ever talked to. So I want to see it in the chat right now. If it's 8 to 10, if it's 6 to 8, whatever your time block is, go ahead and drop that in the chat. I want to see that right now. And while you're pushing stuff, go ahead and subscribe and click that
Absolutely.
bell
For
icon.
sure.
You'll see anytime we
Yeah.
go live here, as we're
Yep.
really kind of blowing up this Texas EXP channel. We really want to get this information out, and we want to update you whenever we go live. So Nolly, back
Yeah.
to you. Unpack for us what to do while they're in the bunker.
Yeah, and here's what I'm gonna say too, because a lot of people get real excited about lead generation, Tony, and what they do is they say, oh, like I call it do the two. Okay, it's 2 hours a day every day. Now eventually you can get to the point like I was where I would do 2 hours Monday through Thursday, and I took Friday, Saturday, Sunday off. Okay, so I worked about 4 hours. I worked 4 days a week throughout my career actually, and I still was able to do. Some years I did 153 deals, some 128. But this is a leverage thing. We'll get into that later. Um, but the point I want you to not miss is that sometimes, Tony, when I talk about this, people get real excited and they're like, okay, I went and lead generated. I did 6 hours today. That's not the point. This is consistency. This is time on the task over time. Time on the task over time. Okay. So when you're lead generating, because for a lot of people, lead generation sucks. They hate it. They don't like it. What I want for you is I want lead generation to be like that Netflix series that you can't get enough of. But here's the thing, you're only allowed to watch 2 episodes. You can't binge. So a lot of times, people, Tony, what people do is they binge prospect, and it leads to burnout. I just got to tell you, you will burn out. There is a burnout factor there. So if you do 2 hours every single day, it'll get you excited about the next day. Like, oh, there's more to do. Okay, well, tomorrow you're going to do what's more. Okay, there's more to do. Tomorrow you're going to do that. So you have to meter it. You have to have a start and a stop. Now, when you get in your lead generation bunker, I don't want you to be thinking. Eliminate thinking. Okay, if you can eliminate thinking from the process, you got it. Okay. You get in and you go. Okay. So you have to have it laid out exactly what your strategies are going to be and what you're going to do the day before. So when you
Yeah.
get in the bunker, you just get in and work. You go to work and you generate a business. Okay. Now,
So
go ahead.
so
Go ahead.
a couple of things on that, Nolly, that I want to unpack there. The first one is the consistency, right? So an
Sure.
apple a day keeps the doctor away, right? Everybody's heard of that.
Yes.
Apple a day keeps the
Yes.
doctor away. And I think again, I'm still on all Jim Rohn stuff because I love him. But
Hmm.
why can't I just wait until Sunday and eat 7 apples, right? It don't work like that. It don't work like that.
It doesn't.
It's an apple a day keeps the doctor away. So make sure you're eating that apple every day, and it's the consistency over time that ends up adding up. And then the other
Hmm.
thing that I want to unpack as well is that your planning time does
Hmm.
not count as your prospecting time.
No,
Right.
it doesn't.
So when you're making your plan on what I'm going to do when I get in the bunker, and that bunker time that Nali's talking about is execution time. That's
Sure.
time to pick up the phone. That's time that you are interacting with people. That's not the time
Yeah.
that you spend planning. So you want to schedule some time to plan outside plan for your execution. So you're saying, hey, in the next 2 hours I'm going to do A, B, and C. So let's say at 1:30, that's when you're going to start planning for what you're going to do from 2 to 4. Right.
Right.
So that's what this is all about, is making the most out of that time, and sometimes you can end up wasting your whole block if you spend that time planning on what you should
Of
do
course.
and then never
Of
getting
course.
around to doing it.
Of course. Of course. Yeah, that's a good point. When you're in your lead generation bunker, you're generating new prospects and you're following up with existing prospects. Those are the two main things that you're doing: generating new prospects, following up with existing prospects. Um, my group. So I have a group here at EXP. I call it Mentorship Masters. It's my revenue share group. And so they came to me and they were like, well, what do I do? Now there are three buckets where all the leads that you need are going to come from. We talked about it last week, so make sure you go back and listen to that one. But I'll just repeat: it's your sphere of influence, your farm, and your niche. Okay, the way you're going to have a high volume listing business is you got to have, like scripture says, put out a lot of hooks. Cast your bread upon many waters. Okay, and the waters that you cast your bread upon are these: sphere of influence, your farm, and your niche. So you're really so the way that looks is, okay, Monday, Thursday, I'm going to work my sphere of influence. On Tuesdays, I'm going to work on my farm. On Wednesday and Friday, I'm going to work on my niche. Okay, so you can have them very specific. Now, here's what happens, Tony, for a lot of, and here's what happens to you listening right now. This is what feast or famine looks like, by the way. You're in your lead generation bunker. You generate business. You start doing this consistently. You do it for 2 weeks. All of a sudden, you got 3 appointments. Boom, you go on those appointments. You're doing, and then you got a whole bunch of work. Now you got this big stack of work, and you stop lead generating. You take your foot off the lead generation pedal. Okay, and you're just working your business, blah, 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 blah. And then you look up, you're like, oh, I don't have any business anymore. Then you go back and you start lead generating again. Now, it takes about 90 days from the time that you start lead generating until you actually get paychecks into your bank account. So if you're taking your foot off the lead generation pedal, then what you're actually doing is you're creating famine for yourself down the road. You're setting yourself up for failure. You never take your foot off the lead generation pedal. I don't care how much, well, I got too much business. There's no such thing. You are not permitted to say that. There's no such thing as too much business. What you need is leverage. Here's what I found, Tony, and I'm going to throw this out. How do you run a high volume business? Leverage. There are 40. So I have in my system, for my team, there's 46 steps that occur on every listing that we take. Okay, step number one is to generate the lead. That's what we're talking about right now. That's step number one. Now, step number, I think 41 is to close the transaction. Okay, and then there's like 5 steps after closing that have to occur in order for you to have a rocking, referral business. Now, of those 46 steps, think about this for just a minute. Of the 46 steps, only 5 require a license. Let me say it again, because we got a big broker here in the room. Only 5 of those require a license. Okay, what that means is that 91.6% of all activities that occur on a listing are leverageable. What does that mean? That means for you, what I want you to do is I want you to generate the lead, go on the appointment. Those are the two big things for you: generate the lead, go on the appointment. When you have the listing, you throw it over your shoulder, your team catches it, and they take it all the way to the pay window. When I ran my group, by the way, when I talk about team, I'm talking about administrative people. I'm not talking about having a bunch of agents. You don't need that. By yourself. So when I did 153 deals on a year, it was me and 4 assistants. Okay, I was a solo agent, but I
Same
had,
here.
yeah, so you don't, oh, I got to have 6 buyer agents. No, you don't have to have that. But it's so highly leverageable. It's all stuff that I teach. I have a 400 and 470 page book, if you can believe that, where I actually teach all this stuff, for those that would slow down and learn it. But yeah, so when you're high on now, here's how I explain it. This is how you're going to picture it in your mind. When I talk to my clients, I say, now, by the way, let me just throw this out. I want you to write this down. On any listing that you take, okay, think about this for a minute. On any listing that you take, on any listing I took, I allowed myself 3 hours to spend on that listing. On the life of the listing. Let me say it again. On the life of the listing, I spent 3 hours. That's how you're going to reserve your time. See, so and that counts generating the lead, going on the listing appointment, and closing, okay, or negotiating or whatever it was. So I spent 3 hours on every listing I took. What happened to all the other hours? My team handled all that. Okay. Now, the way I explain it to my clients, I say, if I'm sitting down with Tony and we're at the kitchen table, I say, now, Tony, have you ever flown on an airplane? You know, like
I have.
Southwest? Yeah. Okay. Well, when you back in the day, I don't know if you can remember this. I might be dating myself, but back in the day before flying became crazy, when you got on the plane, the first person you saw was the captain. I don't know if you can pull that picture
Back in the
back and
day.
remember it,
Yeah.
but back in the day, hey, how you doing? Welcome, welcome,
Shaking
welcome.
hands. Yeah.
Shaking hands. Now, who was the last person you saw? Back in the day, it was the captain. Hey, thank
Again.
you for flying with us. Bye, have a good day, whatever. Now it's
Yeah.
the flight attendants, but back then it was the captain. Now, here's a question, Tony, did you see the captain during the flight?
Not at all. Hope for the best.
You did not see the captain during the flight. And Tony, let me tell you like this. Right, my job is to get your house to sold. We're flying from where we are now. We're flying from here to sold. That's our destination, right, Tony? That's
That's
where
it.
we're headed. All
Yep.
right. So I'm going to land this bird in sold. I guarantee you, we're going to get you top dollar. We're going to do it in less time, and you're going to love the experience. But you will not see me during the flight. Okay. I'm the captain. I'm in the helm of the ship, and all the stuff that I have to do to get your home sold at the amount that we just discussed, you're not going to see me. I'm the captain, but don't get it twisted. The captain was there during the entire flight, wasn't he? Yes,
Yep.
and I'm going to be there the whole time. But
Yeah.
if you need, uh, a blanket, a glass of water, peanuts, I've got a whole team that handles all that. They're going
So
to be the ones that you see.
I
You got to
absolutely
educate them.
I absolutely love that, Nolly. You and I are kindred spirits without even knowing it, man. I use that exact same analogy on so many
Oh,
appointments
nice,
that I
nice.
went on, and then I shifted it as well. Later on in my career, and I started using the doctor nurse analogy, right? So, and I would go in
Yep,
and say, hey,
I like that one too.
I'm the doctor, right? So I'm coming up with a treatment plan. This is how
Yep.
we're going to get you from sick to well.
Yep.
Right now you're sick of this house, and we're going to get you to well, which is not having this
Mhm.
house anymore. And I'm in charge of that process, but after coming up with the plan, that's where the nurses come in. The nurses do a lot of the work. They're going to be the ones that are in charge on the day-to-day thing, and making sure that your things get changed, and bandages, and Motrin and all that kind of stuff, right? Medicine. So
Sure.
they're in
Yeah.
charge of that piece, but it's under my express direction. My hand is never off of it. I'm never far from it, and I am your doctor, right? So, but yes, I
Absolutely.
think that those are incredible analogies. And goodness, I'm going to have you back when we talk about leverage. So all of these, by the way, our monthly strategies all begin with L. So we're starting with listings, then we're moving into luxury next month. So again, make sure that you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. As we go into next month, we're going to be talking about how to win in the luxury market, because that's a big thing that agents need to know if they're going to be successful in this shift. Because we're a lot of these
Absolutely.
industry changes we're not seeing as it relates to the luxury market. So you
Sure.
want to
Sure.
adapt, as Nolly said, right? At the very beginning of all this, you want to learn how to adapt, go where the honey holes are, and that way you never run out of honey. So that's great.
Yeah.
So Nolly, I would really love for you to unpack some more. Last
Sure.
week
Sure.
when
Sure.
you were here with Lindsay, and I see you in the chat, Lindsay. Shout out Lindsay and everybody in the chat. Um,
Lindsay.
yeah. So last week you kind of unpacked for us a lot regarding the niche, right? And y'all talked about
Sure.
niches, and we know Lindsay's a farm and ranch expert and stuff. But I want you to talk a little bit about farming, right? Can you go a
Yeah.
little bit
Sure.
deeper
Sure.
on
Sure.
farming
Sure.
as you talk about your three pillars?
Yeah. 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 Let's go into that. So, and just to reiterate, sphere of influence is going to be your biggest pillar. I gave a good script for that on the last call that we had together. But let's talk about farming. So when you think about farming, you're thinking about a geographic area. Now, this is very interesting, Tony, because this is something that most agents just don't do. It baffles me. We teach you to have a farm, but you just don't go, oh, but that takes too long. Well, you said that 3 years ago. Well, right now you'd have like Jim Rohn. Let's talk about Jim Rohn. When's the best? He likes this old Chinese proverb, and he says, uh, or the Chinese proverb is, when's the best time to plant a tree? You know that one, right, Tony?
20 years
20
ago.
years ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
When's the second best time? Today. right? And then Jim Rohn takes it further. He says, you're not a tree. If you don't like where you are, move. You're not a tree, right? So,
Right.
so, so the so the reality is, you want to farm. You have to farm. You have to cultivate a farm, and that's consistency. You have to continue to do it. Now, what is a farm? It's basically a geographical area that you have decided to take over as the mayor of that area. Okay, so just think about this for a minute. What would it look like if you were running for mayor of your geographic area? Maybe it's the Woodlands, maybe it's Round Rock, maybe it's some area in San Antonio, maybe it's in South Texas. What would it look like if you're actually running for mayor, not of the city, not of the city, but of the neighborhood? Okay. Now Tito's Vodka did it, and this is what Lindsay taught me last week. She said this. She said, Tito's did it where they said, hey, if I can own my backyard, then I can own my block. If I can own my block, I can own my neighborhood. If I can own my neighborhood, I can own my city. If I can own my city, I can own the state. If I can own the state, I can own the country, and then the world's my oyster. And they actually did it. I moved to Puerto Rico after 33 years in Austin. Now I'm in Austin right now because we come back quite often. But and by the way, it's kind of cold here, Tony. I don't know what's up, man. I'm getting that island life is
It's a little
agreeing with me or
chilly.
something.
Yep.
I have a thermal on right now. This is crazy. So I'm like, where's Puerto Rico? We're going back home next month. I mean, next week actually, which will be next month. Anyway, um, the point is that you have the blessing in this industry of being able to have a farm. Go ahead and do it. Start it. So it's going to be 500 to 1,000 homes. Okay, an area. You're going to now that area should have, because of the market shifting, these numbers might be skewed, but it should be nearby. It should be near kind of where you live. It should have about a 7% turnover. Okay, so if you have an area of 1,000 homes, um, at least you should see about 70 home sales a year in that area. Okay, now if it's a luxury area, I'm okay with it having a lower turnover. Okay, but if you have about a 7% turnover, sales turn, that's good. How do you know? Well, you can either go to a title company and say, hey, here's the area I'm thinking about, and they can do some of this stuff for you, or you can just go on MLS, look at all the homes that have sold in that subdivision or a couple of subdivisions that you choose, and then so look at all the ones that have sold, and then add up all the homes that are there. Go to tax record, find out all the homes that are there, and then you just do the math. Okay, this subdivision has 1,500 houses and it sold 100. Is it within the 7%? So that's what you want to look for. Nearby, 7% turn. It should be 500 to 1,000 homes or more. Now, my first farm, remember, I'm thinking big. My first farm, Tony, was 5,000 homes. Okay. And so I was running for mayor. Now, what does that mean? You're going to all the restaurants, you're going to the fast food places, you're going to all those ER clinics, those 24-hour clinics. You're getting to know all those places. You're putting out flyers, you're putting out postcards, you're putting out your business cards, you're interviewing those people for your YouTube channel. Okay, you have a YouTube channel for that area. You have anything you could think of that would look like running for mayor. That's what it should look like. That's what your campaign looks like. Okay, now farming doesn't have to cost you a dime. I never spent any money on farming. So here's how I did it. So I used every door direct mail, EDDM. US Post Office offers it. It's about 20 cents per house to mail to that particular area that you pick. So let's just give you an example. Let's say you pick a farm of 1,000 houses, okay, 1,000 homes. Now with that 1,000 homes, it's going to cost you $200 to mail a postcard to those 1,000 homes. Let's say you want to do it every month. Just an example. Now, it's going to cost if you go to gotprint, GOTPRINT.com, or a place like that, you can get postcards and print material. I've been using them for years for super cheap, okay, and really quality. So it might cost you $50 to print those postcards. That's $250. Then you go to four sponsors, okay, maybe a handyman, a landscaping company, a painter, and a house cleaner. Okay, 4 companies, and you say, look, I'm going to be mailing out to 1,000 homes in this neighborhood. Okay. By the way, that neighborhood should be the area that you pick should be commensurate with the price level of what you want to be listing. Okay. Because I hear people all the time, Tony. They're like, but my average sale price is only 300. Well, can't you just pick a better area? Cost the same amount of money to
Yeah.
market in the hood as it costs to market over here. So it's up to you. So it should be commensurate with your goals. So now think about it. We're at $250. You charge each of those trades $75. You go to a painter, say, look, you can piggyback with me on the back of my postcard for $75. You know, if they get one paint job, it's going to be a couple grand. Okay. $75 a month, you could be my preferred sponsor for this area. That's 1,000 houses. Okay. And now how much did it cost you to mail to that? You got 4 sponsors on the back of your postcard. You made money. Okay. You made $300, 75 times 4, and it cost you 250. So I've never paid any money for farming. And then there's a whole lot of strategies around farming. I won't get because I could teach a whole class just on that. But that's the overarching sort of view on how to do farming. But you
That's
got to
great.
think about it like running for mayor.
So, and I love that. If you were going to be the mayor of the subdivision, do everything that person would do, right? If you want to be the
Hmm.
first person in their mind,
Sure.
what would you do? And I think Lindsay talked some about that last week as well, right? Is folks can only hold two service providers in their mind at once. So,
Sure. That's
if you
right.
want to be that, then those are things that you need to always be thinking about. How can I get in front of them? What
Absolutely.
grocery store do they go to this Kroger over here, Kroger, or do they go to Walmart or Target or whatnot? So, I
Sure.
think that's big.
Yeah.
So, and I think that when it comes to farming, one of the strategies that I would utilize and that I advise folks to do is also let me ask you, right, because it's not about me, right, it's about you. So let me ask, what do you put on that direct mail material when it goes out, in addition to the
Yeah.
sponsor information, because the sponsors are paying for it, so we know that maybe that's a fourth of the card. Is it a postcard, I presume, or
Yeah.
what are
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
sending?
So
Okay.
that's a great question. So the postcard should be a jumbo postcard. Tony, I know a lot of people are like, oh, direct mail. I- I'm just telling you, a lot less people are doing it, so it stands out. So here's what you want. It's got to be an IOV. Write this down. IOV, an item of value. An item of value. What is an item of value? An item of value is something that people won't easily throw away. So if I'm actually door knocking in my farm, or I have a team going out, which I used to have people go out, teenagers and stuff would go out, and I'd pay them, I think 16 cents a house is what it was, something like that. And they would door knock and they would pass out my postcards directly. Okay. Now I did every door direct mail also, but then I would do another campaign with an IOV, an item of value. So let's talk about both. First of all, let's talk about the postcard. The postcard is going to be a message for sellers, specifically for sellers. I was coaching David DeWitt, one of my, David Mamo out of Toronto, Canada. And he came to me. He's like, Nolly, I got a big problem, man. I'm attracting all these buyers, and I'm trying to get in the listing game. So I was like, man, what's going on here? So I looked. I said, let me see your marketing. It turns out that all his marketing was for buyers. What's the interest rate?
Imagine
How
that.
well, I said, man, you got to change your messaging, dude. Your messaging is wrong. See, when I had my van wrapped, it was like all about how much is your home worth in today's hot market, or how much is your home worth in today's declining market. Let's look at that. You know,
Yeah.
um, uh, are you thinking about selling your home? Question mark. Sell in less time, get more money, free consultation. And this is a crazy thing, Tony. I would always tell them, and attorneys do this a lot. I would tell them like, hey, I offer a free consultation. Oh, you do? Everybody does that, man. But I would promote it like, hey, if you're thinking about selling your house, I have a free, no obligation consultation. Just check it out. If it's not for you, that's fine. And so it's just about getting your foot, in the door. So that's the messaging. The message should specifically be for sellers.
Yeah.
Now that's when you mail the postcard. Now when you are doing door knocking on foot in the neighborhood and you're given an IOV, that has to be something that they won't throw away. So it could be a sports calendar. You know, um, if they're not into sports, yeah, wouldn't. My favorite is a vendor service directory, so that the back of your postcard is actually like maybe 8 or 9, 10 vendors that you can say, hey, I know it's hard to find a good handyman or a plumber or a painter or whatever, but I've actually vetted these individuals, and here's our service directory. We want to make, if you need anything done in your house, here's, and then the other side of the postcard or the IOV is your message. The other thing could be, which works really well, is a list of coupons for places to eat. Buy one get one free. I love them. So what you do is you go to the Chinese restaurant, you go to the Mediterranean place, you go to the pizza joint, and then you say, look, this is my neighborhood, this is my area. I own
I'm
that
the
area,
mayor.
by the way. I'm the
I'm the
mayor.
mayor. Yeah.
I'm the mayor. And I'm on the back of my postcard, I'm going to feature 6 restaurants, but only one Chinese place and only one pizza place and only one hamburger place. So if you want to be that place, uh, you know, this is what it's going to be. And then you say, and you try to get them to do a buy one, get one free. It's hard to get restaurants to do that. But even if they did like a 10% off, 20% off, now you've got some good restaurants that have good Yelp rating, good Google rating. You got 6 of them on the back, and now you're saying, hey, if your family gets hungry, I just around the neighborhood. This is my neighborhood, by the way. I'm the mayor here, and I just want to treat you to a free meal. Here's some buy one get one frees from 6 places that are within a mile of here. So things like that. These are what we call IOVs. And by the way, when you think about this whole campaign, this whole idea, it's a campaign. So like if you were going in to, I hate to use the analogy of war, but if you was going to go in and to whoop some ass, you got to go. You got to. It's an aerial assault. We coming by land. We're coming by sea. We're coming by air. It's a raid. We coming in. We're not gonna lose. So some agents, they just kind of come in like all weak, like they send in like 3 troops, and it's like, nah, man, you got the cavalry coming in. We got submarines, we've got helicopters, and we got land troops coming in at the same time. And that's why when you look at like when I was marketing heavily to, now it's more like I let my team do a lot of this. But when I was out there doing it, man, it was like you could. It's like when I would ask somebody, Tony, I know you know the feeling, like, how'd you hear about me? They'd be like, man, what you mean? Like everybody knows knowledge. Like, no, no, but how did you hear about me? Man, I don't know. You're everywhere. They don't even
You're the
remember how
mayor.
they heard about
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, what that's a dumb question. Like, what do you mean? Everybody knows. So that's how you want to, from a farming standpoint, that's what that's what you want to conjure up for sure.
Wow. Wow. No, that is huge. Such an incredible wealth of information. Appreciate that, Nolly. What questions do we have for Nolly? I see some people dropping over the chat. I see somebody. Peter says we need that book ASAP. So this was something that you offered up, and I'm not
Yeah,
twisting your arm into it. And you mentioned that you have a resource that you would be willing
sure.
to provide for anybody that's
Yeah, yeah,
joined
yeah,
this
yeah.
podcast, but they have to subscribe. You got to hit the subscribe button. You got to hit the like button and click the bell. Which it's going to be on the honor system. I'm going to presume that everyone on
Sure.
here has already done that. So, can you talk a little bit about this resource, about this book, about what it is that you have to offer all these folks?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So Tony and I were talking this past weekend, I think it was. Yeah, we talk on weekends sometimes, and we were going back and forth chatting, and I was like, man, how can I get what can I do? Here's how it came about. I'm gonna be real with you guys. I'm gonna be real. So my coach, so I'm a salesman. Okay, when I was 12 years old, I was selling something door to door. Okay, shyest kid in school, by the way. But when it came to sales, I lit up. I just love selling, and so my coach last week, he told me, he said, Nolly, you gotta get out of selling, man. Sales is dead. I said, what do you mean? Because I'm going to share this with somebody. I know it's going to help you. When you sell a house, there's three sales. We have it's a difficult business. I'm not undermining how difficult this business can be, because you have to create three sales in order to get a paycheck. Number one, you have to sell a prospect on the idea of meeting with you. You got to set up a meeting with them. That's a sale. You got to sell them on the idea of sitting down with you for the free consultation. Then you have to sell them on the idea of signing the listing document with you. Sign with me. Hey, let's do the right thing, Tony. Let's sign the paperwork. Let's get your home sold. So that's a sale. Then you got to sell the house. And only then do you get paid. So you have to do three sales. So this is an environment that I was bred in. So I'm a salesman. So when my coach tells me, he says, Nolly, you gotta move past that, dude. That's not your role anymore. You're the business healer, man. What you sell is hope and belief and inspiration. That's what you're selling. Stop trying to sell people products. And I was like, how do you unwind? Like, this is all I've been doing this for 40. So I said, okay, here's the first thing I'm gonna do. I'm gonna give my book away for free. Okay, so I wrote a book. It's $20 on Amazon. If you want to go buy it, it's called Success with Listings. And people would always ask me, Nolly, how'd you sell 1,000 listings in 10 years? I said, well, and I would talk to them for hours. And I said, you know what? Let me just document how I did it. I'm going to pick my own brain because they all, pick my brain. So it took me 470 pages to pick. Okay. And I make it available on Amazon for $20. But I told Tony, I said, look, let's just let our agents have the book for free. I'll send you the link to the PDF. If you want to give it to them, they can have it, and you have the PDF. Now, if you want to get the printed copy, you go to Amazon. By the way, it's free on Kindle. If you got the Kindle Unlimited, I think it's called, you can just read it there. But you want to get the knowledge in you. So we're going to make sure that you get. We want every agent in Texas and outside of Texas to have the book, because I don't want you to have an excuse not to have the knowledge. Okay, Scripture says, "My people perish for lack of knowledge." I want you to have that.
Yeah,
So that's what
and
we're doing.
we absolutely appreciate that, Nolly. If you have that PDF, you can drop it, or actually you can't drop the PDF, but do you have a link, or do you want them to email you, or kind of
Oh,
what
you
will
don't want
work
him
for you?
blowing you up. He said he don't blow me up. Don't blow me up. Yeah, what I'm gonna do is, if you go, so right now, if you go to nolly.com, you can get this book right here, Triple My Listings. And this is only a printed one. You can get it. You pay the shipping. Okay, we print it up, mail it to you. You just pay the shipping. And if you go to nolly.com, you can get this one right away. The reason I wrote this one is because my group, my revenue share group, kept saying, "Man, I'm in my lead generation bunker, but I don't know what to do." So I wrote this book, Triple My Listings, with 27 marketing ideas for free seller leads. Okay, so you get this one shipped to you. Now, the other book, what I'm going to do, I promise to do this. I haven't done it yet, but by tonight, you'll be able to go to nolly.com. Okay, so if you're listening to this after the fact, or you go back tonight, there'll be a link where you can click also to just get my the free book, Success with Listings. You can just download it. Okay. And in
That's so
fact,
cool.
let me see. Let me see. Let me just see if my team has the link up. I don't think they do yet.
That's great. So,
No,
and
no, they
and
don't have
I,
it
I
up yet,
want
but it
y'all.
will be.
Yeah, and as you're kind of looking at that, I want to just call out how incredibly gracious that is, Nolly. And not just the fact that, hey, I've got a book and putting it out there. It's not to generate your own name. I mean, I don't know how much farther you have to go, but certainly you have achieved an incredible amount and the incredible degree of success in your career. So to see someone that says, hey, I have this abundancy mindset, and that's one of the coolest things about all of the agents and the brokers that I get the opportunity to
Sure.
work with here, is that there is
Absolutely.
this abundance mindset. And
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
unfortunately, at so many other places, and I've been in real estate for quite a while, and I think that one of the most shocking things that I get to now that I didn't have in the past was folks that just have that abundance mindset and that they want to see
yeah.
you succeed. And we're building this one big fire, right? And we're all owners,
Absolutely.
we're all shareholders, we all want to see each other succeed, as opposed to
Sure.
being at other brokerages where they'll cut your throat for $1. I mean, it's a
Sure.
shame.
Sure. Yeah.
And if they give you a tip, then that means that they may not be able to have as much business, right?
Yeah,
So
that's
it's
scarcity. That's scarcity mindset.
it's scarcity
That's a scarcity
mindset versus
mindset.
abundance mindset. So to have you
Sure.
say, hey, listen, I don't, and there are many folks on the call that aren't even with EXP, or not even with your team, my team,
Yeah, yeah,
anyone's.
yeah.
They just
Right.
are here, right? They just showed up, they saw
Sure.
it in YouTube and popped
Absolutely.
in. Hey, you get it for free, don't worry about it, here, it's free.
Absolutely.
And that's just been so refreshing, and it's so incredible to be able to work with folks like yourself and like some of the other people that I get to work with here. It's just an incredible experience. So I see
Yeah, yeah.
some other questions in the chat. Kelly wants to know the name of the UPS mailer again. The
Oh,
name of the UPS.
of the you're talking about you. So the company where you have them printed is Got Print, GOTPRINT. But I think you're asking about USPS,
Okay,
United States Postal Service, which is EDDM, Every Door Direct Mail. EDDM, and that's a strategy that's in both of my books actually. When you download the other one or get this one in the mail, you'll see the step-by-step strategy, so you can't really go wrong with
that's
it.
great.
Uh,
Bill wants to know if you do any digital marketing or just print, and what's your blend. Do you do 50/50 or 25/75, or is it mostly one or the other?
yeah, you got. So that's a great question, by the way. I do most everything digital now. It's probably 90%. But don't negate the print because the print, but digital is the future. The only thing I don't like about digital is here today, gone tomorrow. You know.
Mm,
So you do want to have a digital farm also. That's another strategy that I teach. But that's a more advanced strategy. Right now, I just want you to focus on the idea of running for mayor, what that looks like, and getting yourself out there in print. But yeah, digital, I do a lot of probably 90% of what I do now is digital versus you know, versus printed. It's
And
a great
and the
question.
two, it's not necessarily one or the other, right? Because the two
Mm-mm.
can build off of each other. When I
Sure.
was in production and sending out postcards and those sorts of things, we would do QR codes, right on the postcard, and
Hmm.
then that's the quickest
Hmm.
way to transfer someone
Hmm.
from the physical environment into now the digital environment. Not even my business
Yeah.
cards, if I'm working on attraction, or if I'm chatting with an agent, I'll give them a business card, but my business card has a QR code, and they're going to scan that, and
Sure.
that's going to take them into the digital space. And then now
Absolutely.
I've got them, right? Because now I have that
Absolutely.
information, and I'm going to mail them to death, or until they
Sure.
come on board,
Yeah.
right? Because we got an incredible product. So
Yeah,
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 no, I
yeah.
think
Yeah,
that's
it's
great.
not, I like what you said. It's not either or, it's both and more.
Both and
I
more.
like
There you
that.
go. There you go.
Hmm.
All right. Well, I think that pretty much hits our time limit. I thank you so much again, Nolly. Incredible to have you again. Thank you so much for your giving spirit. Thank you for the incredible knowledge that you share with all of us today. And yeah, any parting thoughts, parting words for us?
Yeah, don't be afraid to reach your ultimate greatness. My mission, write down your mission. What's your purpose? What's your mission? And my mission is to become all that God created me to be so that I can live the life that I was meant to live. And I want that for you also. I want you to become all that God created you to be so that you can live the life you were meant to live. You came here for three reasons. Write this down. You came here, number one, to be. You're a human being. You came here to have an experience. The second reason why you came to this realm is to do. You have a mission, you have a purpose, you have a God given thing that God has given you to do. And but that's not first and foremost, that's secondary. And then the third reason you're here is to give. Okay. The knowledge that you receive, you do it as unto others. It's so important because we're answerable. Why do we do this? Why do we give stuff away? Because we're answerable to in my what I've seen and what I've experienced. I'm answerable to an almighty God, and someday I'm going to stand before and I want to feel great and high five like, okay, you well done, you did it. And so it's very important. We're here to be. We're human beings, not human doings. We're here to be, do, and give. So Get about it. And thank you,
That's it.
Tony. This
Thank
is a
you.
great
Well,
platform. Appreciate you,
let's.
brother.
I think we just leave it there. That's incredible. Thank you so much for that word, Nolly, as well as all the information. Thank you all so much. Again, like, share, subscribe, click that bell icon so that you see what we got coming up next week. We're dipping into luxury, right? We are going to. I say dipping. We're diving into luxury, and we have none other than Elizabeth Riley. More information about her to come, but goodness gracious, she runs the Lux team and she's
Love
incredible.
her.
But thank you so
She's
much, Nolly.
amazing.
He's familiar. And yeah, have a great day, y'all. We'll see y'all next week.